Lopez.
And I'm Holly McClure.
And this is Faith on Film, a program designed to keep you informed on everything that's happening in the world of faith and family entertainment. Holly, have you recovered?
I've recovered. I tell you what, I'm excited about today's show because this is an interview with a friend that goes way back, and I mean way back, and it's been fun to watch his career and what he's done and through the years and where he's at right now. And a lot of people have probably seen him in a lot of films, so it's going to be a familiar face today.
Yes, as a matter of fact, he's an award-winning actor, film director, screenwriter, film producer, and businessman. He, of course, is the co-founder of Pinnacle Peak Productions, or Pinnacle Peak Pictures, which is a distribution and production company specializing in Christian faith and family-themed films. He, of course, is also the co-founder of Pureflix, which we all know about Pureflix. I think one of the biggest things with Pureflix that I can remember is, of course, God's Not Dead. So he was a part of that. And is, in fact, I think he plays...
And continues to be part of it.
He's best known for Reverend Dave in God's Not Dead series. So listen, let's bring him on. Dave, how you doing? Welcome to Facebook.
David R. White. A.R. White.
Hey.
Good to have you. Yeah. David, you've been very busy promoting not only a new God's Not Dead, but also another film, which we're going to be talking about soon, which I love the title because nothing is impossible with God. But it's funny because I was saying to Isaac, we're probably two of the people who I've been there to watch the beginning of your career when, you were doing movies like Mercy Streets and other movies, Visitation and others, and have seen it come. In fact, I think you played a doctor and I played a nurse in one of those scenes, but for the Visitation. But it's been fun to see you come through your career and where you are now. It's been a journey, but it's been an exciting one.
Well, thank you guys. It's always a pleasure to see you both as well. And we're blessed in a lot of ways because we get to just see old friends too. So anyway, this is what this is about. I get to hang out with you guys for a little bit.
Well, now I was going to list all the movies that you were on, just so I can let people know what what movies you've been a part of. But I ran out of paper.
It would take too long.
It says here over 38 movies, 17 TV shows. You're a producer of 40 movies, 10 TV shows. What do you do in your spare minute?
Do you have one? I don't think you have one.
Really?
Well, I have children too, so every ounce of spare minute is somehow going to pick up somebody from someplace and get them to another place, and hopefully feed them.
Just take the next few minutes and let us know a little bit about David A.R. White, how you even got started. Holly just mentioned one of the first movies I guess she was a part of with you. But is that where you started, or did you start even before that? Just give us a glimpse into your journey.
Yeah, I'm from a little town outside of Dodge City, Kansas, and grew up as a Mennonite. If you don't know anything about the Mennonites, joke is the Mennonites make the Mormons look like a pack of Hell's Angels. So, I was conservative. We had, I think I saw one movie in the theater the first 18 years of my life. My father wanted me to become an evangelist, but first we all went to Moody Bible Institute. So. But after a year, I left there. My family had all graduated, and met their significant others there. And I had this thing inside of me to go in the entertainment industries from a little. So I think from before I was in high school actually, and I didn't really tell anybody about it because we never even had a drama program, and so it didn't make a lot of sense. But when I was 19, I moved to LA to pursue the entertainment industry and got on a show called Evening Shade with Burt Reynolds. Right when I got here, and so, but then I ended up getting cast in Christian movies. They were very small though at the time. They were like these 30 to 50 minute movies for churches. I worked for Focus on the Family, for Youth for Christ. Did a movie for Concerned Women for America as an actor. So I think I was kind of known in that little realm of those shorter Christian movies at the time. And so we started producing in our late 20s, Kevin Downs and myself, and we did a little movie called The Moment After, which came out a year before Mercy Streets, which is where I met you, Holly.
That's right.
Isaac, I don't even know. I'm trying to remember when I met you. Obviously, I know you were at TBN, but I mean, like, what year was that? It was like 2000, 2001?
It was about 17, 18 years ago. So whatever that is.
Somewhere around there, yeah. So, and then we started Pureflix in 2005, realizing that we needed just a production distribution entity that could help other producers release their content and so it's been an amazing ride in the way of a career that you don't really think you're going to have or do, but in the process of it, you just really feel thankful and grateful that I've been able to be a part of so many things that matter, I think.
Your father got his wish because you were in ministry. You have been in ministry, so to speak, just in a different way with film, which probably was that a shock to them or your family at first, or did they adjust to it quickly, or how did that go?
Yeah, they certainly never saw that coming. Both my parents are gone. They actually didn't. They both had passed before the God's Not Dead movie came out. I would have liked to have seen that, but at the same token, my dad was always just. Really just felt like just as long as you serve the Lord and whatever you do, then we support you and I think I could have been anything. I could have been moving trash.
David, I want to ask you, because speaking of God's Not Dead, I remember, when that came out and it was up against the movie Noah, and there was a whole dramatic backlash against Noah. And then, of course, it had momentum with the song and with God's Not Dead. And that surprised Hollywood more than anything that year, and for a couple of years, actually. And so it's been exciting to see the success of that. But talk about how that kind of took a different transition, even for Pureflix.
Yeah. Well, we had always wanted to make an apologetics movie. We had made a lot of movies. I think we had released something like 100 movies leading up to that. But they were all home entertainment movies and smaller movies and movies that, Isaac would help us with but for many different ways. When God's Not Dead came out, we just really felt like it was a theatrical movie. It needed to go into theaters, and that was like the next step for what we were doing to make it more global, I think. So when 2014 rolled around, trying to raise that money, that $6 million to put it in theaters was a very difficult thing. We couldn't do it, and we kept running into roadblocks, and also. No really studios wanted it. Nobody really believed that it was a theatrical movie. So we got turned down by everybody all over Hollywood when we were trying to get DNA, and then even the book, the booksellers, nobody, they just didn't see it as that. It was a home entertainment movie. So all that to say, obviously we did finally raise the money right before it went. People believed in that movie, and they saw it all the way through, and I think that also changed the trajectory of faith films, at the time in Hollywood with all the studios. And then obviously shortly after, they all started making their own faith labels, realizing there was a marketplace for, faith-based content in this country.
One of the things that I thought was brilliant was the texting of, God's Not Dead, because people are so much into texting, and so to be able to just capitalize on that. I remember as I was going to the theater, in fact, all of a sudden I got a text from somebody who had just come out of the movie theater, God's Not Dead, and that just took off, didn't it?
Yeah. It's when it was pitched to me originally, a guy by the name of Troy Duhan had this idea. He was working with Rice Brooks on the book, book. It was just an apologetics, straight apologetics book called God's Not Dead. And then there was obviously the Newsboys. He had known the Newsboys, and so he came and he said, "Hey, this would be an amazing movie, and what do you think about this?" And it struck something in me, right there, like that I couldn't turn off. And so then we ended up bringing Mike and Russ into it, and and then hiring Chuck and Carrie, who ended up writing an amazing script for the first God's Not Dead. Actually, they wrote first God's Not Dead 1, 2, and then part of 3 or part of 4 actually. So So, but that's the thing is like the texting just kind of went along with it all, and with the title. Like I think what I love that's so universal about that movie is that no matter where you go, it says something. And that movie is very, very just the title alone, "God's Not Dead," is it's something that resonates. You either believe or you don't believe, and that's universal. So that was a connector there.
Well, tell where it's gone now, because there's been several since the first one. And in fact, there's been one recently released and you had an announcement about another one. Tell where you're going with these now and what's the focus of the themes.
Well, Fast and Furious has 10 of those. So we're just trying to.
So you're producing God's Not Dead fast and furiously. I don't know. I knew we were going to make 2, obviously, after the first one, but I would never have imagined that it would keep going the way that it has. And certainly, even in the storylines. And I think that every time a God's Not Dead movie comes out, it's really relevant for where our society and our culture is. And so even on the last one, God's Not Dead, We the People, which I have random posters here in my office. So this no resonates what we're pitching today about Nothing's Impossible, or even the latest God's Not Dead movie. But it came out last year after the pandemic in theaters for 4 nights, and it was sold out, and also had standing ovations for God's Not Dead, We the People. And that was once again just a reminder that it's still relevant today. And that is why we have continued on to, we just announced that we're making God's Not Dead Rise Up, which is the 5th installment. So we got a lot of cool people coming back from the other movies, a lot of new folks, and I'm just proud of that. Harold Kronk is directing this one, who did God's Not Dead 1 and 2. And so, it's amazing where it's coming and going, and only the Lord knows. We just try to give it to Him and say, Lord, just anoint this and do with it what you will. Well, David, really honestly, with today's culture now, I mean, literally within the last 2 years, it has shifted so much where now Christians are being attacked. The lies have become truth, no one's believing truth anymore. And the numbers in the church are dropping with young people. They're not going to church. So, I mean, there are a lot of things culturally happening, actually, that makes that topic so relevant, even more than ever before. I mean, it was then, but it is even more now because we're literally having to defend God in every facet of our life, school, everywhere, culture.
It is. It's hard because I wasn't alive, 100 years ago. So I don't know if we've ever, gone through this as a country, but in my life, it's certainly a lot different than it was 10 years ago or even 20 years ago. So, again, it's by the grace of God that we made those movies and are continuing to make them.
You know what? Talk to us a little bit about Pureflix and Pinnacle Peak, because I know that sometimes people might get confused. Of course, Pureflix became a very well-known brand, especially in the faith community. But then you switched over to Pinnacle Peak, and sometimes I think people are like, "Well, wait a minute, what's Pureflix? What's Pinnacle Peak?" Can you kind of give us a little insight as to what that's all about?
I don't know. I don't even know.
Okay.
Are you Pinnacle Peak? That's all we want to know. Are you that name?
This is a perfect guy. Right now, he's like, throwing things behind the camera at Holly, going, "Why did we take this guy for this interview?"
I thought it would be interesting.
Well, now I know Sony bought Pureflix, and I believe you went with that, right?
Yeah, so here's what happened. So in a nutshell, Pureflix started in 2005. In 2015, the SVOD started, which if you don't know what SVOD stands for, it's streaming video on demand, which is basically Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, all of those, Disney, all the ones that stream 24/7. That's why we created it, so people could have faith and family content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, throughout the entire year. Sony, around 2020, Sony came in. They had been trying to start a faith label for about 7 years, actually, and then realized how hard it was. We had a tremendous amount of investors had really believed in this. Over $50 million was invested into it. It was a very, very, the SVOD world, because there's also all the original content. There's over 10,000 pieces of content on Pureflix right now. It's hard to maintain if you're not as an independent. And so Sony has had a firm for many, many years, obviously, and done very well with that. And it's been, I think it's been a blessing also to the faith-based industry. And when they came in and wanted to partner with us, and then it worked out to where it just made sense. And so we're so grateful. In 2020, at the end of 2020, they bought Pureflix, and then we started in 2021. We started Pinnacle Peak Productions, which is now the. I'd say we do. We don't do all of the originals, but we do a lot of originals that are running on Pureflix.com right now. On the SVOD service, the streaming service. So.
Where'd you get the name? Where did you get the name? Are you Pinnacle Peak? Where'd you get it?
Pinnacle Peak. There's a mountain in Arizona, right outside of our offices in Scottsdale. Now I'm in Calabasas here, but our other offices are in our mother hub. Our mothership is over there in Scottsdale.
Thanks for explaining that.
A mountain named Pinnacle Peak.
There we go.
There's also a great restaurant in Covina, I believe it is, that's Pinnacle Peak, but not to be confused with Productions, right?
Okay, well, there's a new film. Let's talk about the new one, because this is, I love the title, Nothing is Impossible.
Yeah. It just came out on Pureflix. This is a movie that was, definitely a, I tried very hard to make this movie for quite a while, and as life imitates art in a lot of ways, this movie was a tough one to make, and it was just the scripts went through very many writers, and Tommy Blaze is the one who ultimately brought it home, and I love that it's all about dreams, it's all about purpose, it's all about that thing that's inside of you at an early age. Are you supposed to continue to pursue it, and or at what point in time do you realize that you're over the hill and maybe you should just give up on that? And so I love that. Where does the faith come into that? In the middle of, obviously it's a romance and it's set against basketball and all that. So.
I often feel like, is it time to give up now? Because I'm getting pretty old. But
no, it's not.
Time to, it's not. Well, I'll tell you what. We do have a trailer. Here, let me just set that up. We have a trailer that we can take a look at, and then we'll come back and talk.
I don't know that the trailer could explain this movie way better than I just did. I mean, I was
okay. Well,
you were excellent.
Well, let's look at the trailer, and then you can come and kind of expound on it. How's that?
I think that's a good.
Yeah. If you humble yourselves before the Lord, all the answers to life's questions are easy to find.
Maybe I want to do more with my life than just give up.
You were so close to getting to the NBA. That's you in the trophy case.
That's me in the trophy case. And this is me now.
God is not done with you. He's still working through you.
This weekend, the Knoxville Silver Knights will be holding open tryouts at the arena.
You used to be with the Knights owner?
We're not playing the Knights.
Scott, are you trying out? Aren't you like 40?
Not yet.
Are we rebuilding a franchise or are we casting a reality show?
Forget it, Archie. You're not going to trot out some old romance for the cameras.
And most surprising, middle-aged Scott Beck, former NBA.
Never underestimate the power of a really good Cinderella story.
Through you, I can do anything.
Made it to the second round, Bob.
I can do all things.
You certainly have a lot for someone with nothing to lose.
We all chipped in, Mr. Scott.
Nothing is impossible.
They look a lot taller in real life.
Scott Beck was passed through to the final round with no intention of signing in.
Don't you understand what's happening here?
I do.
He didn't use you to get to the NBA. He used the NBA to get you.
When God is going to do something amazing, he starts with the impossible.
Nothing is impossible.
40. Oh my goodness. I have a daughter that's 41.
Aren't you? That looks like a great movie, and I'm hoping people will go watch it because it should be inspiring for all ages, I think, but especially for adults. Because who hasn't felt that? At some point in life, are you giving up? Are you not your best? That's great.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's he gets this shot to the whole thing with the NBA. The NBA is, this movie really is about also a bunch of broken people too, who also their dreams haven't gone the way they wanted. And so this girl played by Nadia Bajorn is she's wonderful in the movie, but she's also she is the daughter of the owner of this NBA team that he got passed over, and so here she takes over this team. They're holding open trials so they don't end up going bankrupt. And in the process of it, he doesn't actually go there to try out for the team. He's more going there to see about this lost romance that happened years and years ago. He wants to see the girl. So it's just this really sweet, it's just a sweet movie and about second chances in so many different ways, not only his. And that's what I love.
Who was the guy? He was in the Kendrick Brothers movies, and he was that coach on the side. I can't think of his name. I love that actor.
Are you talking about Robert Amaya?
I love him. He's funny. The way he can deliver lines, I just love him. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, there's a lot of humor in this movie. I'm a fan of humor, obviously, and so there's so much heart, but there's so much humor. It's you make these movies first and foremost that they're entertaining, and then hopefully that they have something deeper. People walk away from them inspired and uplifted, and at the same token, they can talk about things that matter. And these movies stay with you for a longer period than just jumping a car from one building to the next. And number 9.
But you're going to do those too, right? Revolution, don't you have one coming up, or you're going to do that again and again?
Yes, but we do it with great meaning.
There you go. You jump cars with great meaning. I love it. No, but nothing is impossible. Okay, and it just opened yesterday, but obviously people will be able to see it, at any time. I'm just curious, David. You've done so many different kinds of movies and roles. Is there something you haven't done that you still want to do and you want to try?
You know what? I don't have that yet. I've been enjoying when I was young. I remember when I was 19, sitting around a table with Burt Reynolds and everybody on that. I don't know if you guys ever watched that show.
Yes.
Everybody had won an Oscar, an Emmy, or a Tony, right? And sitting around with all these legends who I had absolutely no idea who any of them were. What I loved about them was that Burt had these relationships with these people in different ways for years, like 30 years. He knew Hal Holbrook from something. He knew, Dom DeLuise. He knew Charles Nelson Riley. He knew Mary Lou from, all these different people. And it was fascinating. As I obviously was on the show on and off for 3.5 years, I got to know who these people were. And then it was like, oh, wow, such legends in their own way. But the coolest thing was that Burt would always work with his friends, and he would continue to have that camaraderie, that family within even the entertainment industry. And as a pastor's kid who moved around a bit, when I landed here, I didn't ever want to go anywhere. I was like, Lord, I want to be here, and I want to build my community here of friends and family that I can work with for years and years. And that was something that I literally remember taking away from at 19, and I'm blessed. Here I am, years later. I'm not quite 40. Movie, 39 and a half. Actually,
truth in the movie.
Yeah, but Isaac, come on now.
Yeah, really, Isaac. What the heck?
We're live, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, I got a daughter older than you.
Well, she's 39 and a half, I guess. But the thing is that's what I love. Obviously, we love to make films that uplift and inspire the human spirit and bring people to higher levels of insight to who God is and the purpose that He has through film. But I love to do it with my family, my friends, and I'm blessed. My son is in this movie. If you see him there on the poster, it's a basketball movie. My son's been very gifted at basketball. He's now actually almost 6'3".
Oh my gosh!
So, he's been playing since he was 5 and on some of the really, really great travel teams. So it was great to work with him on this one.
Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting. And your daughter was in a film recently that you did also. So it's becoming a family affair, isn't it?
Yeah, both my daughters. Yeah. That's a tricky thing, though, because they could go work a lot more. But, they're kids. And so you don't want to, send them off to the salt mine too much.
So David,
your dad would not approve.
how can people get a hold of you or follow you? What's the best way to kind of connect with you?
No idea.
No idea.
Well, I met a cleaning lady in the hall that I've never seen before. And she was a big. She didn't speak any English, but she was a big God's Not Dead and Christian movie fan. So I'd never seen her, but you could always meet me in the hallways.
Come on, no David A.R. White website or something?
Oh, he's on social media. He's all over social media. Yes, absolutely.
David A.R. White
Absolutely.
Other than Snapchat, I refuse to get onto that.
Oh gosh, I know what you mean.
And have you done a Western? Because I don't remember seeing you in a Western.
I've never done a Western.
David, I'm telling you right now, come out to Capernaum Studios and make a Western, because you can make one out there and make a faith-based Western. It's becoming popular now. Kevin Costner's going to do it, so can you.
Can you see yourself in a big old huge cowboy hat?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know that it's not high on my list of things to do is Westerns. I've been offered Westerns, but I just haven't, I don't know. Wow. I'm having a good time. I'm excited. Love on the Rock. If you've never seen it, we shot that movie in Malta, which is another, where it has so much rich biblical history to it. So that we're continuing on into Greece this year.
Ooh.
I'm very excited about that one. I'm excited about, actually, we're working on the sequel to Beckman back there as well. So some of these things are just pieces that I have a heart for, to seeing them continue on. And so, I don't know.
Especially when you travel to Malta. Gee, what a rough job. I feel sorry for you having to pick up the next movie at some exotic place.
Thank you. It's life. It's tough.
All righty. Well, so Nothing is Impossible, available on pureflix.com.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, please see Nothing's Impossible. I really believe everybody will love it. It's something for the whole family. And
excellent.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, appreciate you taking the time to come with us. I know that you're extremely busy, but these few minutes have been a lot of fun.
Thank you, David.
I love you guys, and thank you always for all you're doing. And and I look forward to seeing you in person next time I'm either in Texas or wherever we land.
Or on the red carpet. Let's hope we get on the red carpet invite next time.
We would like that.
There you go.
All right, darling. Thank you. Good to see you, David.
Hey, you guys. God bless you guys.
Hey, so don't forget, we want to hear from you. So give us a little email there, and just write us at faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. That's faithonfilmtv@gmail.com, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at faithonfilmtv. And of course, we always want to remind you that we'd love for you to go to YouTube and hit that little like button and hit the subscribe button so that you can get all the updates on whenever we have new shows. Right, Holly?
That's right. And you better subscribe. Push the button. Right. Push the button. That's great. And it was a great show today, you guys. It was fun to see David and talk to him. And hopefully you got some insight into the actor who you've seen many times and probably many more.
Absolutely. Yeah. Many more to come, because he's only 39 and a half. Got a lot more time to go.
God's not ever dead. God's not ever dead.
All righty. Well, thank you, Holly. We'll see you next week. And folks, we'll see you next week as well.